Mobile agents accumulate data are inherited are large in size. We have this tension that we this tensions we discussed that mobility goes against being robust, being reliable, being intelligent, being autonomous. The more you are in this sense, more size you must have. And this is why they are unsuitable to work in low bandwidth, generally mobile computing. And finally, we see in this example that in a general sense, mobile agent paradigm is just not suitable to work in real-time tasks. And the important thing to remember about this is that all benefits that were talked about previously by our competitors are already here in the current technologies that we can use with mobile code. And add to the mobile agents the complexity of issues that are raised by this. Okay.
Okay, who's next?
So, first of all, I'd like to emphasize something. There is a difference in between what is mobile computing, mobile code, and mobile agent, right? Mobile code or mobility, you can find many definitions. I just put two of those. And this is the next time.
Sorry.
Stop the clock.
Just go right click and go. You go to your slide.
This is what happens when you're static.
Okay, then I came in for definition about, or some categories about agent. Agent has to have somehow be goal-oriented, perform some action reactions, dynamic environment, have to be knowledge of, some kind of knowledge, perform some actions, again, exchange knowledge, and also have to perform some level of inference. Autonomous, reactive, proactive, and social behavior as well. Those kind of terms are in the agent definition, okay? So mobile agent is a blending in mobile computing and agent, all right? Agent by itself doesn't need to be mobile. However, to implement an agent, you have to implement some level of intelligence. A simple code that goes from machine to another machine is not necessarily an agent. A mobile code may be or may not be an agent. A mobile code that goes somewhere, check a cinema reservation, not necessarily an agent, just a piece of code. To be an agent, it has to have autonomy, that's fine. We have to implement reactive and adaptive features, knowledge and actions, beliefs and desires, cognition. Those kind of things are very hard to implement, and difficult to implement. It turns your project quite complex to implement, right? They're not very easy to add in an agent. On top of that, you have another feature that you need in mobile agents. Concurrent and distributed problem solvers, you have to be able to manage that. Flexible and sophisticated interface between the problem solving components in your agent. Complex individual components whose behavior is context dependent as well. You have to have a knowledge of the environment as well. And then also some issues regarding networking exactly. Network is composed of heterogeneous hosts. It's not very easy to handle those problems. Managed by different authorities with different levels of trust. Connected by links with different bandwidth. Wireless, low connection, or even fast connections. You have to be aware of that. You have to be able to tackle those problems on the fly sometimes. Second, programmers in general do not have control over the migration policies. And there is also issues regarding specifically with mobility, like synchronization, mutual exclusion for shared resource and deadlock and livelock. More issues. To implement intelligent features, it comes for a cost. Doesn't come for nothing, right? Inference and reasoning capabilities. It's not easy to implement. It may make your application quite heavy, okay? Second, If you want to have knowledge to be active and reactive, to understand the environment, and be able to exchange knowledge with the community of agents, you need a knowledge representation formalism. And to implement knowledge and to add knowledge,
1 minute.
it may become an application quite heavyweight, and also have to implement fields for knowledge manipulation. So what I'm saying, that to implement a mobile agent, it may be a nice thing in some cases, but may not be the best thing in others. That's the main thing. It's a very hard thing to implement. It may turn a software project very complex and very costly. You have seen here the example for NASA and CSIO, but what about industry examples? Where's the cost benefit in having, not having a mobile agent implementation? Where it came from? How you are going to justify the return of investments in those kind of projects? If every problem that you see, you think you can tackle with a mobile agent, you may try to fit the mobile agent technology where it may not be the best technology to tackle with. You have to be aware that there are trade-offs in between. You have to be able to measure that trade-offs instead of blindly stepping in technology without thinking too much. That's the issue.
Thank you.
Okay. Unfortunately, I don't know anything about mobile agents. I think that's going to be me down a little bit.
Just blast them.
That's what I was planning on. Okay, so I think... Oh, that's the rest of yours.
Yes, I couldn't finish. I can
read that out. Okay. So I think the bullet points here sum up my knowledge of mobile agents. But I think that's not as much of an issue because one of the questions that we're looking at is, are mobile agents useful? I think we're convinced of that. John said that there are 448 million mobile users in the world. I'd like to know how many of them are using mobile agents. If this is a technology that's been around for 10 years, and it's getting to the point where it's becoming maybe a mug's game, if you're spending 10 years on getting it right, I think what you need to do is convince users, particularly in an e-commerce retail environment, to trust a piece of software that they don't know anything about, that is not particularly intelligent, that is possibly written by the same people who wrote their buggy operating system, to go out into a virus-ridden and spam-plagued internet with their personal preferences inside it, make decisions on their behalf and be treated honourably in a competitive retail environment. I think that's a big task. So there's a whole lot of security issues. One of them is, how can you trust an interpreter to execute code in the way you want it to? Mobile agents, I understand, are interpreted code. So they're executed on interpreters you have no control over. They could be reverse engineered, presumably fairly easily. Chanel, just... Will the host One of the reasons I wanted to participate in this is to argue against Chanel. In theory, it can be done. Will the host transmit the agent when it's requested to transmit the agent? I mean, I can't even trust my own operating system to do things properly. I don't know if I can trust another host to do things properly on my behalf. If I encrypt the data, then presumably that only works if I'm going to decrypt it again when it comes back to me. I don't want to trust necessarily other hosts to decrypt that data. I don't know how useful that is in practice in agents. Presumably you want the data to be examined by hosts. If you want that to happen, you need to trust all the hosts that the agent will be visiting. Definitely you can't put secret information, their credit card information, I assume you would not put in a mobile agent. That limits the usefulness in an e-commerce scenario. Denial of service attacks, I would see, could be performed using mobile agent paradigms, and I think that's something that I don't know if it's been addressed. Spam is a big problem in the internet. Can mobile agents be used? as a spam type device. We're talking about a competitive retail environment. Retailers are sending their own agents out. Can they carry advertising material back to people that they don't want? I don't know. That's an issue. I think also John brought up the fact that NASA is using mobile agents. That seems like a very good reason not to use them. NASA's record on things. So, just to sum up what we said, as opposed to what it was said that we would say. First of all, fairly strong statement, I guess then. Mobile agents don't provide any advantages. Things that are useful tend to be used. Mobile agents are not used. That tends to sum up that question I would have thought. A combination of mobile code and RPC is almost always better and more efficient. The paradigm itself introduces problems that we did not have to deal with before, some of which are unsolvable according to security researchers. Again, is it becoming a bit of a mug's game? Fundamental problems, and most of those unsolvable problems are in this area as far as I can see, security and trust.